Well, the other day I was driving by this farm that I used to have permission to arrowhead hunt on, and I never lost the permission. It just enough years had gone by where I wanted to reacquire it before going out. So I stopped, talked to some of the farm hands, and I'm out here today, and I'm just now starting to get into some good looking area. Lots of quartzite starting to show up. And you can see there's quartzite flakes all over through here. That's a big flake there, another piece there. Quartzite, 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 there, 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 there. Here's another piece. So I'm going to slow down and start taking a look around here. That looks like it might have been a scraper there. It's got the hint of a notch on each side. It's got a worked edge going around. It's a bit broken off right there. Probably a scraper. That looks like it was probably the beginnings of the base off a large point. It's only worked on one side, so it probably was not a finished point. Either broke or I spalled it off. Another quartzite flake, but that one's got a good little worked edge along it. Little flake blade of some sort. There's a big flake that was turned into a scraper. Got a bit of a worked edge around it. Just a rough, quick scraping tool. Well, there's part of a big stone tool. Probably was like a spear point. If I can get this in my hand, probably would have had a tip on it like that. And that's the base of it. Big worked edge all the way around. Big spear base. That looks like another broken base off a large spearhead. Something like that. Nice square base, just like the other one. And right next to that was a scraper. Very roughly made one. Thick, chunky, ugly. But you can see that well-worked edge put on it, that scalloping. So that would have done the trick for scraping a hide. Another stone tool. There's another big spear or knife piece. Got the point of it this time. Nice scalloped edge on it. And if you imagine, here's one of those bases I found before. It's from a slightly smaller one. But if you imagine, they kind of lined up like that. This would have, the base on this one would have been a little bit bigger, so more like that. If I hold it forward a little bit. That's what it would have looked like when it was intact. But another nice big stone tool piece. There's a good example of a pressure flake with a serrated edge put on it. That probably was a larger piece that was being worked, and then it was getting too thick, so they spalled a piece off one side, and some of that serrated edge still shows on that flake. Here's a possible little thumb scraper. It's a flake, but the edge looks a little worked, so that could have been a scraper. Hard to say. There's so many flakes in this field. There's just quartzite everywhere through here. Here's another piece of a big big knife or spear blade. You can see it's another square bottom base. It's been worked all the way around. Another one of those. Here's a nice big round scraper. It's a pretty well made one. Nice well made edge all around. pretty good scraper. I'll take that. There's a hammerstone. I'll take that. You can see all the wear from it being used, being knocked this way, then on this edge after the first one wore out. Nice worn out hammerstone. There's the first flint, well not flint, the first chert pressure flake so far. There's almost no chert in these fields. It's all just quartzite because we're so close to the actual lithic source. And so you end up with a lot of this quartzite almost exclusively. And it's very rare to find any chert up this way. Just all this dull gray quartzite. I found one broken point out of this field that was chert. And this may actually be the first actual chert pressure flake out of the field. It's really uncommon up here. Another piece of quartzite with a nice worked edge on it. There's just so much quartzite in here, it's honestly a bit much to try to look through. I mean, there's just quartzite everywhere. Well, this is a stone tool of some type. The whole surface has been hand pecked down and ground to really shape it just right. And there's wear and damage along that edge, and wear and damage along that edge. Seems a bit big for a hammerstone, but I guess that's probably what it is. Big hand-pecked hammerstone. That'd be my guess. There's another quartzite scrap with a really well-worked serrated edge on it. I'd love to find a nice projectile point. This field doesn't give up very many. It's been hunted to death for decades and decades, so there's not a lot of good points left in it. Just a lot of the big, ugly, broken, roughly made quartzite pieces. I have found a handful of nice arrowheads and projectile points out of here, but they are hard to come by in this field. Nice little scraper. Good edge put on that one. Well, it was nice to get back out on an old permission that I haven't been on in years. No projectile points today, but lots of stone tools, a lot of chunks and pieces of quartzite that have worked edges that are likely bits and pieces of scrapers and flake blades. You know, a handful of better made scrapers. But the finds of the day were the two hammerstones, that one that's really worked down, and then this hand-pecked hammerstone with a bit of wear on both ends here. And then these broken points, these large spearheads or knives or whatever. We got 4 bases from them, 1 broken tip. And when I get home, I'm gonna look up and see exactly what type of point they are. But it was a good day. Glad to be out in the woods, or out in the fields I should say, and always happy to come home with a few stone tools.